I'm live. Hey, MGTOWs, this is Vention. I wonder if I can see any chats in here. Show chats. Cool. Okay. Ooh, I think I'll give myself a thumbs up. Well, I just wanted to. I was gonna make a video, but I figured I'd just do it live. I'm just gonna do this in one take. Um, hey, how's it going, Kevin? um, I just wanted to cover something pretty quick. Hey, all right, MGTOW expat. It's great to see you here. Hey, wow, I've actually got a few live stream viewers. Amazing. Woo, indeed. I just wanted to cover something kind of quickly. I noticed that I basically, sorry, I'm only one take for this one. I just got home from work, as you can see all the dirt. Did an in-frame rebuild today. Well, I started an in-frame rebuild. Finished up an engine swing that I started a couple of days ago. Good times. I love working with my hands. I even forgot my ibuprofen. I'm healing up very well. Just a little bit of pain. Hi, pal. The one thing I just wanted to cover was, I'm on the West Coast, so it's like, let me see, 12:06 over here. I just wanted to cover something about Bitcoins and this upcoming recession. Man, we are seeing more and more signs of this, of the next big 2008 coming. Oh, what is Expat 2? I think we will have to use my Bitcoin for tickets to the Philippines. Oops, I missed it. Missed the rest of it. Oh, you're going to move to the Philippines. You know, I've been kind of looking at the Philippines as well. It has a lot of potential to it, except in the northern areas where you could get killed. But if you stay in the southern areas, it's probably okay. So, yeah, it's that, and more people speak English, supposedly. So I've heard. Oh, but what I was talking about was the next recession. There's like all kinds of signs showing up if you're sort of watching this sort of thing. You've got VA hospital. Oh, I see. Yeah. Visas are a major pain in the butt for under 50 years old. I imagine so. Yeah. Oh well. And every time you want to renew your visa to go overseas, you got to get on a plane, and that's gonna rack up. That's gonna add up. The cool thing about Cambodia, it's like cross a border, come back. I guess you could renew your visa that way. But as I was saying, there's a lot of signs that we are facing another. Oh, found out I was wrong about that. No border runs. Oh, in the Philippines, you can just renew. If so, that would be great. But there is a lot of signs of this next big recession, and there's going to be a nice little addition to it, meaning that let's see, I have to go to immigration office like every 2 months here in Cambodia or there in Cambodia. That is a downer. And then the next big recession we're seeing looks like it's going to in the Philippines. It's going to also include the fact that China now has a petrodollar sort of thing where people up until recently, people could buy oil for dollars. They could only buy on the international market. When they wanted to buy oil, they had to have dollars. Yep. I'm definitely a gamer. No, I've never heard of PAX. Hey, how's it going? but that's going to cause a big problem with the dollar because the petro yuan is coming out. Hey, MGTOW Viking, and that's going to cause a lot of people to. That's going to cause a lot of pressure on the value of the dollar. And if you're here in the States, we could easily see like much more expensive gas, along with all the usual things that a big recession comes with, like in 2008. You should give Penny Arcade Expo a try someday. I, I missed the last part of that. Oh well. Okay, but back to back to what I was saying. That's going to cause a big, along with all the brokerage and bank failures that we had in 2008. Oh, you were a Humvee mechanic. Nice. In the Marine Corps. Oh yeah, being a mechanic, dude, I can't recommend it more. I am. You get dirty, as you can see. You get oil on your head pulling mains like I did today. But yeah, it's awesome. Oh, time to get out of Bitcoins. Okay. Well, anyway, this next recession is going to be, it's going to push the value of the dollar down this time because of the petro yuan, and then we're going to have like much more expensive foreign goods, including fuel, and food is partially traded internationally as well. So it's like going to be kind of stressful because prices for a lot of things like gas and diesel and whatnot, it's going to go up. And at the same time, real estate's going to drop, stocks are going to drop, and when that occurs, people are going to want an alternative. Like during the last time that happened, back into the 2008 recession, man, my silver went up. My gold only went up like 70%, but silver went up like 260%. So, and the gains I made on silver became the down payment on this house, which I bought at the bottom of the market in 2012 for like 160,000. That's like almost free here in the Seattle area. So, and then I was able to pay it off quickly because I had such a low debt load on it. So, but when the conventional systems start failing and banks and brokerages start falling, oh, gold is going up. I've been watching that. That's true. They're going to want alternatives, and I saw it back in 2013, 2014. I was thinking, man, Bitcoins could really act the same way as silver, and I could really see it going up a lot. Expat 2, do you think after a year or 5 years it still won't go up? Oh, I'm thinking so. Oh, you're talking to Excalibur. Got a prediction for the the market crash? Probably this fall. Things like that happen in the fall, but even now we're having massive volatility in the stock market, much more than usual, and it's going to be something to see, and it's going to be wise just to, well, let's see, investment is not for people who see only short term. Yeah, patience as far as like investing goes in anything. Money just moves from people who are not patient, moves right over to the people who are patient, and it's really sad for those people who just haven't learned patience yet, because I mean, you don't need to be a mental giant, because I am certainly not. but it is really, if you have some patience and you learn some patience, you can really make some good gains on these long-term market swings, like what's going on. Like, let's see, consistently going down if you are only looking, exactly, no doubt. So my big alternative, I still own like an ammo box and a half of silver, but do I buy Ethereum? No, I don't. I know almost nothing. Yeah, Shingles. Yep, I'm live. It's bizarre. I'm afraid that I might say something really, really stupid, and when you're live, you can't take it back. Well, anyway, these chats are showing up briefly and then disappearing. I wonder. I should wonder if I could monitor it on my PC. Oh well, I'll worry about that later. So what I'm seeing is a lot of a lot of I see the regular stock market, the regular economy. It is like running on fumes right now, and man, and when it starts to fall, people are gonna remember. Oh, if you keep your finger on the screen, chats, they will come back up. Really? Oh, cool. Well, let me try it. It's not coming back up. Huh. Oh, what? Maybe I. Oh, okay, great. I can hit the little chat icon. Cool. Okay. So when that occurs, when people panic and when people see the conventional system starting to fail, when they see their stock, like in MF Global, that commodities exchange back in the 2008 recession, the guy who was running the place, I can't remember his name, he just started taking people's gold and other commodities out of their accounts totally illegally and gambled with it and lost, and MF Global went out of business. Then of course the little guys lost their butts and the big guys were made whole, or they didn't get it as bad, right? So when people start seeing third party organizations like, oh, Excalibur, fiat currencies are going down internationally. Exactly. It's a race to the bottom. Gold and silver, yeah. Man, if you don't want the volatility of Bitcoin going into this next recession, man, I couldn't recommend silver more. And I still have an ammo box and a half, and I am not selling that. It makes an excellent emergency fund. I cashed in a little bit to fund my trip to Cambodia. Let's see. Made a delivery to a woman's. Oops. Made a delivery to a woman's home yesterday. Her neighbor had a personalized license plate which read MGTOW XY. XY, MGTOW XY. Oh, was that just a fluke, or was it a personalized thing? Anyway, it says, like Machoda says, why? Good question. So in any case, when people see the conventional systems, keep your finger on the screen the whole time you're reading it, and it's disappearing. Maybe it's a different version of you. Oh, okay, now we're working. Okay, thanks MGTOW expat. You're an old hand at this. Okay, so when that happens, alternatives like gold and silver and Bitcoin, it should get pushed way up, and I am very bullish on that. And I've been noticing just recently, like over the last couple weeks, we seem to be bouncing off. Let me unplug this thing and see if I can show you guys. Kind of an awkward way of doing it. But we seem to be bouncing off the 6,500 level, bounce, and then we seem to be having some degree of a recovery. And just like I saw back in 2015, early 2015, man, it looked to me like Bitcoins had bottomed at like $200 each, like 190 or something. And it had a real bottoming pattern, and then I was certain that we had bottomed. And I think that we are pretty darn close. Let's see. Vention. Let's see. Please address user why question above if you get some time. That's the problem. I'm so new at this. I would have to see it again. A lot of MGTOW expat says a lot of this is purposefully done by whales. Oh yeah. The big, huge whales and the big Wall Street types, they're doing all kinds of things to manipulate the price. Like as soon as MGTOW Viking, Bitcoin is expected to rise in May. Yeah, and partially it's because so many countries in the world have tax due dates that are right about now. You know, like, let's see, like Machoda says, why do you believe Bitcoin was created by NSA to further condition the people? A lot of people say that, but if all of the serious programmers have looked at the code, and it's unlikely that that's the case. Accelerator says the nature of Bitcoin, it goes up, hits its peak for a few months, then falls, and it stays low for. I don't know about that. If you want to consider low, like, hey Macwood, there was. If you want to consider low, like now, $7,000. This is really high. I mean, it's a dream come true to have a price like this, but on the short term, this is sort of a low because we've been up to like $19,000 each. So it's like it. This, I think this is as low as we're going to be going. I mean, yeah, I could be wrong. It could go to 4,000, but man, it's really bouncing off the 5,000 and 6,000 over the last few months. And I am of the opinion that we have pretty much bottomed, so I'm dumping whatever money I have into it. I have to pay $1,640 on property tax this month, because but basically after this next month I'll be dumping some of that money into it. So if you guys don't know about the Abra app for Bitcoins, I highly recommend it. One of the you can see over the last few. Let me see if I can. There we go. Over the last couple weeks, I've put in about $1,100, and I'm about $53 up over the last 2 weeks. So I'm of the opinion that if we're not bottomed, we're pretty darn close to it. So that's why I'm dumping much of my surplus income into it. Shingle says, man, you guys got property tax in the States too? That's nasty, man. Yeah, anytime you are stationary, anytime you own a piece of property, there will be people and there will be bureaucrats and there will be governments. It's funny, my focus seems to be out. Who will be there to like farm you. Once you are like stationary and you have roots in, then they want to treat you like a crop and harvest you every few months. Let's see. Xpac 2, trying to remember the app name. Oh yeah, this app name is called Abra, as in abracadabra, I guess. But it's like pretty cool. You can like switch between dollars and switch between various international currencies, as well as Bitcoin and other things like Litecoin and Ethereum and bunches of different currencies. I am very impressed, and it was so quick. I did a bank draft, and then within like a day or 2 days, the money hit my cell phone. So let's see. Y says, what are your thoughts on BitConnect? Man, I could have made much more money, if I would have been able to pick good ICOs and put money into them like Ethereum when it started out, when Expat 2, property ownership is an illusion. Yeah, that's a valid point. But is basically, okay, I lost my train of thought. Okay, Shingles says, as long as the money ain't hitting them hoes, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, pretty much, as long as they're not sucking that money out of you. But yeah, in a way, property ownership is an illusion. But what's the alternative? Paying rent or, but if you can knock that mortgage to zero, you technically sort of own the property, but your expenses go way down. Man, I pay like, let's see, What's my total for property tax? I pay $3,292 a year in property tax. Let's see, 3,292 divided by 12 is $274 a month in property tax. Then you've got like utilities, maintenance on the property, you know, and most of that I do sweat equity, do it myself. So it's like, oh, Dread Pirate Roberts. I love that name. It's even starting to gain some of its momentum. As far as government, or I'm sorry, as far as Bitcoin go, I'm of the opinion you're right. So, man, I'm getting all scatterbrained. So, yeah, over the next few months, I am certain, pretty darn sure, that we are at the bottom. But if we're not, we could certainly go lower. And if that's the case, I'll just be putting money in every month, you know, dollar cost averaging. But I am not in favor of putting giant sums of money. Like when I sold the condo back in 2015, I had that $100,000 sitting in my hand, man. I was like, what am I going to do with it? And Bitcoins were like $400 at that time. And I was thinking, should I buy Bitcoins? I'm certain where this is headed. I know this is going into the thousands of dollars range, but man, I just couldn't do it. So I took that money and dumped it into the house mortgage. So, and that was a big part of the reason why I am now mortgage free, you know. Plus, I don't have a freaking woman in my life with a giant freaking vacuum cleaner sucking all that money out of my wallet. Dread Pirates Roberts. What's. Oh, I see. This thing isn't scrolling. Okay. Sweat equity. Nice way of putting it. Yep. Assets go to your dog. Yeah. Oh, why do you use. Whoops. Why do you. What? Okay. Like Machoda. That says to use why other MGTOWs or Automo friends. Okay. Howdy expat. Yeah. Hey Eddie, excellent. Thank you, Eddie. Oh yeah. So basically, we're in a situation where we are coming darn close to this next big, huge real estate, stock market, banking system implosion, and at the same time, we're having the dollar's corner or absolute domination of the world oil market is now going to be broken. Now that we're going to have the petro yuan in China able to be used to buy and sell oil with, and that's scary for the dollar. And a lot of people who have their money, their incomes denominated in dollars, when they like want to buy gas or diesel or food, or insurance, whatever, we should be prepared to pay more. So watch those budgets, you know, expect that over the next 2 years, things are going to be a lot more expensive for us, significantly more. I would imagine like $7, $8 a gallon gas, you know, things that can really hurt. Let's see, Roommate Stein, are you not worried about the area you're in during a severe recession? Seattle is super liberal, yeah, and getting worse. That's true, but Seattle's got some good points to it because we got no state income tax, and there's a lot of liberalness, yes, but the sales tax is fairly low, property tax, and I've got like gun guys on both that side and that side. I'm the only guy who's like really a prepper, but these guys are. You know, I think I could rely on them to watch my back, and I will watch theirs. So let's see. Macwood, need to pay off the national debt credit card, and that can't be done without tax breaker. Basically, we have so much debt. There's no way this. The whole system is designed to keep nations and individuals in debt. There is no way under this system that we are ever, as a nation, ever going to get out of debt. If you want to get an overview of this problem, just do a search on YouTube here called "Money as Debt," uh, and you will see an overview of how our system is set up and how it's just designed to keep us all in debt slavery for eternity. Um, well, yeah, confessions of an economic hitman. That's another important thing to be considered as well. So, yeah, let's see. Bitcoin. You would not be shocked to see Bitcoin hit 1,000 in 4 years? Well, it would have to be one heck of a drop, and something weird would have to happen. Something outside of what I'm predicting, but anything's possible. But man, it's the gold standard of cryptocurrencies. It's the first one, and it's the one where so much work is being done with second layer solutions, the Lightning Network. Then you got Rootstock coming in. Oh, let's see. I thought Bitcoin was safe. What's wrong with investing in it? Oh, it is really safe if you hold your private keys yourself and you don't have it trust. You don't have all your money on these exchanges, like trying to buy Ethereum and sell Bitcoin and buy these. Trying to buy low, sell high. That is just, man, I've tried it. The only thing I can do is just lose money. Back in the old Cryptsy days, there was an exchange called Cryptsy, and I tried several times, to do it, but the only way I seem to be able to make real steady money on this is just to put some money into it every month. And geez, if I had put money into some of these currencies and just kept them, for example, I saw Darkcoin before it forked over to Dash. It was just like a few satoshis a coin. Dogecoin, it was like real cheap, and it's like vastly more expensive now. But instead, I just decided to buy and hold Bitcoin, and it's worked out plenty good enough. I mean, it's not fancy. It doesn't go up and down as much. It doesn't crash as badly. It is much more stable. It is like the gold standard of cryptocurrencies. So that's what I wanted to mainly discuss. The Abra app, I highly recommend it. Money is debt is a good thing to really get a good idea of what's going on as far as how our financial system is built. And it's a good idea over the next few months. Just watch some of the financial news about how, yes, Excalibur Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous. It can be tracked in some ways, but it's not easy. But it's also fairly easy to just totally become anonymous. You can take your Bitcoins, run it through Shapeshift, flip it over into Ether or Monero, and then wait a few hours and flip it back to Bitcoin. It's anonymous enough, unless you're some kind of person who is, doing some kind of actual crime, which is, I wouldn't recommend that. But for as much anonymity as normal people need, like from the family court system and whatnot, I'm thinking that the Shapeshift method is probably good. But I'm a diesel mechanic, not a serious geek. Those real geeks, they know this stuff much better than me. Okay, so guys, okay. Excalibur, nope, government has imposed restriction in purchasing Bitcoin with credit cards of banks. That's true. I have my Agoda app connected to my checking account. Then I can just purchase with a direct draft from my checking account. Then I can flip it into Ethereum, then flip it back to Bitcoin and dump it in my Coinomi wallet, which is totally on my phone, totally backed up, and the keys are both one or two places plus my safe deposit box. So yeah, there's another important thing I'm thinking about Bitcoin, and it's something that I do. I don't really want to. Yeah, Agoda. Did I say Agoda? My bad. Abra. I just came from Cambodia, as you know. Um, so anyway, yeah, I would highly recommend if you have a certain amount of bitcoins, like I have enough to that a hostage situation is an actual danger. Like people in bank, bank managers and people who are like into like serious money, they have methods to take away the reason for being kidnapped, right? And for me, um, I guess I should probably tell you, just I just keep my private keys, not really my private keys, my wallets in the safe deposit box, and that way I can't get to them except during business hours, and nobody who seizes those things in the safe deposit box can get anything out of them because they are so encrypted it's ridiculous. The password's about 9 miles long, and that protects protects me from the banking system, because when banks fail, they'll open the bank deposit boxes and take whatever gold or silver you have in there. Um, and then basically they can do all that stuff. But if they take my bitcoins, well, they can't. Basically, they can't even know how much is in them. I basically Okay, I won't even go into that. But basically, I don't have access to them. One of the most important things is to remove the danger that your wealth presents to you, as well as protecting the wealth itself. So, okay, guys, that's about all I can think of right now. The rest of this month, I'm going to be paying my real estate taxes, but throughout the rest of the year, I just do that twice a year. Then after that, I just have nothing but utilities, car insurance, and stuff like that. And it's just awesome. Shingle says, looks like Zero Tranny's going to be robbing Vincent's Little Nuggets. Well, there's a problem, because if I am held hostage, there's nothing I could do to convince them that I don't have the money. It's just like my main thing would just be to try to get through it. So looks like Zero. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's about all I can think of. Any final questions about this recession, or bitcoins, or anything else before I close the stream? This was just kind of a fluke. I wanted to do a one take thing, so I figured I'd go live. It's kind of unusual for me. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. If I can figure out how to shut this thing off. And don't get married. I'm kind of thinking, I might want to have a new tagline to close, because one of my taglines, one of the things that are like central to me about MGTOW is peace, freedom, and prosperity. That's the MGTOW way. It's just that you get so much more of all those three things when you go MGTOW, and it's just, you get so much more peace. I mean, every single time I'm dating or have a long-term girlfriend, you just have so much less peace in your life. I mean, I always feel confined and under the gun in a way, and all the weird hints. Like this one girl was, I didn't understand where she was coming from when she took me to a store, right? Her birthday was coming up, and she took me to a store, and she didn't say that she wanted something, right? I can't remember. It was some useless piece of garbage, and she was looking at it and sort of fondling it and saying, I don't know, I kind of like one of these, but I don't know if I want to buy it now. And I didn't understand. You see, when somebody wants to tell me something, I have this problem. I oh, this the chat is continuing to scroll. I didn't. It was frozen. Sorry, guys. Um, honey-do list. But anyway, she was hinting around. Now I know she was hinting around that she wanted that for her birthday. And man, and when I failed to understand that, that was like really close to the end of that relationship. And I don't miss it a bit. Once she would say, I don't think we're right for each other, it was like, oh, thank goodness. Oh, man. Because I felt confined and just, you know, under demand and being things demanded of me. And I didn't really understand all of her weird things where you had to read her mind in order to know what's going on. Man, I am so much happier when I'm not dating. Women don't. Why? Women don't speak directly because they do everything possible to avoid confrontation. Back in the day, it used to be that way because could have been like deadly for them. But man, nowadays, they had better step up. But I'm done with them anyway, so who cares? Women bring confusion, chaos, and confinement. Absolutely, confinement. I felt confined and trapped. And then eventually, after trying multiple women, multiple girlfriends, multiple quick dates, skeet 'em and delete 'em, exactly. Man, I just got sick of it. And then finally, the last one, it reached the point where I just realized, after she and I had broken up, I realized, man, I've had enough. That was 2009. It's getting to be a long time ago. Let's see. That's why everything they say sounds like a question. Yeah, I suppose so. It's bizarre. I mean, even, if I do end up going 30 is the new 20 for millennials. Yeah, I suppose so. I guess, maybe. Women still hit the wall, though. They can delude themselves if they want. Vention, did you ever feel like having kids? Blue88 says that. Well, yes. I did, because I would, man, I think I would be a very good teacher, a very good, Ryan, I feel old. I feel your pain. I feel I would be a very good teacher. I'm a natural teacher, and the thing about bringing somebody and introducing them to the world is to find out what they are, what their talents are, and what they really care about, and help them find their way in that direction. And plus, man, I could teach a kid to ride a bike in about 5 minutes. Just understanding something and being able to relate it verbally. I think I would have been a very good father. And yes, I did want to have kids, but man, back in 1997, I think it was, when a friend of mine, oh man, when his no sex for 2 years wife went absolutely bonkers when he cheated on her, and then basically picked up their 2-year-old kid as daughter as a human shield, like holding him like a knight holding a shield, and then hitting him and kicking him and screaming and throwing deadly things at him while the freaking 2-year-old daughter was sitting there being held as a shield. It was just such an act of tremendous cowardice on the woman's part. And then he fled the house, right? And then she picked up the phone. He molested our daughter. She didn't understand, because she then the police came and got him, locked him in a cage, and then then she didn't seem to understand the amount of power that that accusation has with law enforcement and everything, because she called up 4 hours later when she cooled off, and she said that it was so she just lost her temper, and she just it was all a lie, right? And she, of course, was not prosecuted. He was bleeding. She didn't get prosecuted for domestic violence. She just didn't get prosecuted for any of lying to police officers. Nothing. They're like above the law, man. And then they locked him in that cage, and they didn't let him out for 3 months, and he was just stuck in there. And my geek friends and I, he's one of my D&D buddies, we went to visit him in jail, and I have never seen anybody that miserable in my whole life. Even now, I have never ever seen anybody so miserable. And you could see he just wanted to climb through the plexiglass and go home with us. And he will not to this day, he doesn't discuss what happened to him in jail. But he since he got out, once he got out of jail, he was gay, right? And I guess it's not a total loss, because he's been monogamous with his other gay guy for the like 21 years now, and I guess they're pretty happy, you know. They all live in this big geek house that a friend of mine who's a IT guy for a big legal firm, he basically bought this really expensive house, and it's like this whole group of geeks live there, and they run D&D games and computer games, and it's like geek heaven over there. I go over there periodically. Yeah. Expect to being gay is expensive? Really? I don't know. Maybe. Well, it doesn't really matter. Who cares? You either are or you're not. So, and I'm not. So it's not an option. So, who cares? But basically, yeah. And then he got out, and he was like, or actually, he didn't get out. They basically said, okay, after he lost hope, this is the way they usually do it, and a lot of MGTOWs know this, is they wait until you lose hope in jail, and then they offer you an out, right? They say, well, we can either let you out as a registered sex offender for the rest of your life, or we can stock the jury with a bunch of blue-haired, man-hating feminists, and just load them up with the most horrible feminists in the world, and they will fry your ass and send you to federal prison for 20 years, right? So you can be out as a registered sex offender and be part of all the feminist statistics of how evil guys are, or you can go to prison for 20, 10, 15, 20 years, federal frickin' prison. And he took the deal, and he just said, I just want out. And he managed to restart some kind of life and start working on the career thing again, even though his other job was long gone by then. But man, I saw all that, and it put me on like a 4-month odyssey, looking on what passed for the internet in that day, 1997, and talking to older mechanics about their marriages and divorces, and reading what I could on it. And then finally, after 4 months of agonizing over it, I realized I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I waved a silent goodbye to the kids I would never have, the woman I would never marry, and then I just started planning my life with the intention of remaining single for permanently. This is long before I ever heard the word MGTOW, but yeah, yeah. Why says Western civilization died the day women got the vote? It sure put it on the path, and it's not dead yet. There's still enough civilization to use for your own purposes, building your wealth, building your own stability, and so that you can build Sorry, no, no, no. Yeah, I didn't really give anybody a warning about this. So anyway, you can actually use what's left of our economy and what's left of our civilization. You can utilize economic cycles and build your wealth and build your well-being and your health, and your set aside some food and get yourself a means of self-defense. Like, if you have the ability, I'm a big fan of guns. Here's my little second wallet that I carry. Little pocket carry Ruger LCP 380 laser sight because I'm a shitty marksman. But basically, I've been carrying it for 10 years. I've never had to use it, and I've never been in danger except for once. Man, there was this one time in Sam's Club. I was just livid because, well, for some reason, right? And I realized I was really angry, and so I went right home, locked my pistol in the safe, and didn't pull it out for 2 weeks. If I can't manage my anger, I have no business being armed. Eddie Imperial. In America, they are trying to force people back into the cities. Yeah, absolutely. Expat 2, I wish I could have a gun other than my arms. Dude, you are one buff, scary individual. I would not want to tangle with you for a second. So I think you're probably fine over there. So let's see. MGTOW guide. Thought it was a Bitcoin wallet at first. No, no, no. I own no guns. Been considering it lately. Any kind of means of self-defense. If you're in a place where the government violates your right to defend yourself, taking your guns, that is, if you can get a hold of even a can of mace, anything that'll give you a little bit of an advantage. And man, I tell you, pepper spray is freaking that rocks, dude. I had 2 pit bulls after me when I was on my bike ride, and I just shot one right between the eyes with the spray, and instantly it went from like a crazy creature who was just delighting in the fear and the terror of its prey, right? It turned into a complete basket case, as it was like staggering blindly, kind of going all the way back to its house, right? And then the other one, it was not gonna bite until the other one was biting. I could tell body language, So I just gave that one a quick shot, and instantly 180 and went back. So yeah, I would highly recommend, if you can't get a gun, get some mace, and even if you do get a gun, as I have one, I have mace too, and it's a very good thing to have, because if I hadn't had that spray, I would have had to shoot the dog, because I always carry both, right? Well, when I'm riding a bike, I have both. When I'm walking around, I have only the pistol. But if I didn't have the mace, I would have had to fired a few rounds into the dog, and that would have been sad for everybody, including their family and whatnot. And yeah, I had a dog a few years ago. Man, that would have been brutal if somebody killed that dog. Load your mace with mustard gas. Yeah. Land ownership is a loot. Yeah. Have you ever considered moving into the country? Yes. Yeah, if Bitcoins went up to like 18,000 or something, or well, when it does, I will have the option of retiring here in the States or retiring overseas. And I am not certain which way I'm going to go, but I know I'll go overseas a number of times and see if I like the lifestyle and see what it has to offer me. That Cambodia trip was a disaster. The first thing that I did, the first day, I fell and sprained my shoulder so bad. Have you been to Australia before? Way too feminist for me, dude. Sorry. The government takes away the right for the people to defend themselves. So you have to, if a bunch of people from who say they're from Syria or whatever, but are from, some low IQ country. They kick in your door and kick the shit out of you, take your money. You can't do anything about it because you're not armed, right? Uh, if I'm going to live in a place where the government violates my right to defend myself, well, I will go to a place that's pretty cheap. Sorry about Australia's awesome in a lot of ways. I love Jeff Lawton and all of his permaculture. That's like amazing stuff. But I will not live there. So let's see. Ownership of all property in the state is called ownership. Oh yeah, exactly. Anytime the government decides to take things that belong to you, there is very little that a person can do. When you're coming up against government force, there is not much you can do, but there's one thing they can't take, and that's your bitcoins. What's your IQ? Well, a long time ago I had it tested at 110, and then it was tested a year or two later, it was 115. Now that I'm 53 years old and the brain is slowing down, I might be 100. Who knows? It's hard to tell. Everything slows down. My your awareness, your alertness, your ability to remember, it all starts going away. So plan for that. I'm still intelligent enough, but it takes me a while to think my way through things. We can form the resistance to overthrow America, but I'll tell you one thing. Going up against the government on their turf, which is force, physical force, that puts you at a severe disadvantage. The best way to deal with a tyrannical government is to be an individual and look at the situation, look at all the traps that the sheeple fall into. They don't really care about you. The only thing they want to do is harvest the wealth of the people and keep the bureaucrats in their money. And then but if you're smart, you can watch what other people do and what they fall into, the traps, including marriage, a number of things, and then you can run circles around the lumbering, slow systems of government. And one of the things that's important to have all of that, have your freedom, being able, I've really found it useful to be a conspiracy whack job, what people call a wacko, who are into all this conspiracy stuff. It's how I picked up on so many trends, the economic cycle, the bitcoins, the gold and silver, there's a lot of crazy there, but you can, Earth is flat. Okay. There's a lot of crazy there, but it's, you can also get a lot of information. So, but if you're watching like CNN or TV news or even the big websites for news, all you're watching is what the elites want you to know. And what they want you to know, they want you to think. They don't want you to think that we're heading for another recession. They want you to think everything's great, and then they just pull the rug right out from under you, harvest your wealth, and leave, and then throw you back into the system so that you can try to recover and work really hard and try to build assets again after they've harvested everything you own. So it's important to watch those systems, watch those trends that usually just destroy normal people, and you can bet against the trend and just like make a lot of money. You can also gain a lot of financial stability. For example, going into the 2008 recession, man, I saw that and it scared me. I was buying big buckets of wheat and guns, and I was thinking the recession would be a lot worse than it was. And gold and silver, and when 2010 rolled around, I saw everything get really cheap. Cars and jet skis and motorcycles and and real estate and stocks, they were all just going for like 50% of what it used to be back before the 2008 recession started, right? And that's how I got that nice pickup truck, for like that nice Dodge diesel pickup that I'm so happy with. I paid $6,500 for that, because the guy just got laid off and was liquidating everything so that he could move away and do the whole early retirement thing, early pension and all that. Okay, MGTOW guide. Why they went into Dash, I believe. Oh yeah, Dash has some usefulness to it. Some encryption. You can do dark sending and whatnot. But personally, I just stick right at Bitcoins. Okay, so yeah, exactly. Expat. Schiff is definitely blue pill. His whole business is set up to for gold for the most part, and now he hated Bitcoin. Then he started taking it a couple of years ago, so you can invest in his company or his investments using Bitcoin. So I find that amusing. Okay, guys. Well, that's about all I got for you. Yeah, just watch this upcoming recession unfold, and if you let's see, the world will be much better place if men have the balls and the brains to fight women instead of men. No argument there. Um, he is right about the monetary system. Yeah, money as debt. If you don't know about this, guys, one of the most important things about being a man going his own way is to understand the system that traps us, that confines us, things that want to harvest you of your wealth. It's important to understand that so that you can use that knowledge to defend yourself, and then gracefully run around and bypass, and then profit from it in a way. Like when we were at the bottom of the recession, gold and silver was high, real estate was in the toilet. I sold my gains in silver. That became the down payment on the house, and then the house was slowly starting to ramp up in value through the 2012, 13, 14, 15, and so was my old condo, which I had an aging overweight feminist living in there, but she paid her rent. And then in 2015, when the real estate prices were up to some extent, I didn't expect they'd keep going up that far, but then I sold the condo, dumped the money into the house mortgage. If I knew the future, I would have bought Bitcoins. And then that cut my mortgage in half. So every month that I paid my mortgage, I was getting a much bigger chunk knocked out. And so then, this is not a fun thing. That the only time I panic sold was when in March of 2017, the price just crashed, and all the big, huge Bitcoiners were saying it was going to go to $400 each, right? And I panic sold a big chunk of my Bitcoins, enough to pay off the house and the IRS. But then the house is paid off. I shouldn't bitch too hard. And I took all the money I ever put into Bitcoin off the table at that point. And then, but I still regret it. And ever since then, I've been buying Bitcoins, but I will never, ever have as many Bitcoins as I once had. That ship has sailed. So the only thing I can do is just keep putting them away with my larger MGTOW enhanced surplus income. The Lord Liancho says, any mob at your home out for you, get a gun, crack a window, start firing rounds at them. Yeah, that's important. Important to be able to have that kind of force. I'd hate to do it, though. It would make me sick. Rockefellers were smart enough to do that and succeeded, yes. But they're an extremely evil group of people, and if you get into this sort of fringe knowledge, you will find out some pieces of how evil those people truly are. So it's like, it's just, they've used means, threats, murder, everything to maintain their hold on world domination. Basically, those people control the central banks. They own a lot of the central banks, and they own the Bank of International Settlement, I think it's called, which is like the central bank of central banks. Nobody ever talks about it in the media. The only way you can find out about them is by going outside their media. That's the system that works for them. Every time you watch CNN, even Fox News to some extent, you are only seeing what those super wealthy people want you to know. And that will be knowledge, not knowledge, but programming that basically cripples you and makes you vulnerable for them to harvest your wealth and your life, basically. You know, your life, you trade some of your wealth, some of your life, some of your years of life for things, you know, like you certain amount of wealth. Yeah, Bilderberg, exactly. Certain amount of wealth, certain amount of property, and you trade your days, your irreplaceable days of life to get a certain amount of these assets and things that you want in your life. And every time, every 8 or 9, 7 to 10 years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they then pull the rug out from under the economy, and then people lose their jobs, lose their houses, everything goes into foreclosure, and governments start going bankrupt, and then these super wealthy people can just take a little tiny bit of money and just start scooping up assets that people are forced to sell at tremendously low rates. Like in Greece, they bought all the airports and other infrastructure, and basically they just bankrupt the whole country because of the system that they've created to keep everybody, including all the governments, in debt. And there's this next big, huge recession. We're going to see a lot of public things privatized and sold off to wealthy people. And if you can see all this stuff coming, you can put money into assets that will go up in value when the economy really goes into the toilet. So, and every time I see a MGTOW do something, that it's just like this, you know, like buying gold and silver, getting into bitcoins, taking advantage of the opposite side of the cycle, you know. I am really grateful to see it. It's just huge, because if you have those assets, gold, silver, or bitcoins, maybe some other cryptos as well, then we drop into this big recession. Then basically the value of those alternatives get pushed way up. Then a couple years into the recession, we'll bottom out on real estate and stocks. That will be the time to start selling some of those other things like bitcoins and silver, like I did in 2012, and buy something, whatever it is that you want. Cars, motorcycles, jet skis, stocks, real estate, you know, all of that stuff is going to be cheap. And alternative assets, gold, silver, and Bitcoin, if you have that, you should be able to roll it into those assets that are at the bottom, absolute basement. And then you can ride the recovery as we move up, following the point where the recession bottoms out. They call it the business cycle. It's trying the people. If you watch CNN and stuff like that, they don't tell you anything about that. They would tell you, like Kramer on CNBC, at the bottom of the horrible recession in 2000, the 2008 recession, he was saying, at the very bottom, he was saying, it's all done, everybody, everything's hopeless, and he was like all mopey and everything instead of crazy like he usually is, and he was getting people to sell at the bottom. That guy is not your friend. So every time MGTOWs are able to see outside the system and see things that allow them to take advantage of these cycles instead of getting steamrollered by them. I am really proud. So, Eddie Imperial, a lot of rich folks are leaving the country in case of war. Yeah, probably. MGTOW Expat. My main channel is scheduled to go live again on 19 April, guys. Released from the digital gulag. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for that video on that you did for me about Crypto Asia. That I wanted to go there when I was on vacation there, but man, I was just in such bad shape. My arm was in such agony all the time. I couldn't even reach for a beer. I had to use my left hand for everything. Then I got massive diarrhea. I was done. I was just it was the total fiasco. Next time, I am not done looking at overseas possible retirement places. I am not beat yet. But that day or that one vacation, I was defeated. Okay, guys, I am going to let you go. It is time for me to wash some of this grime off and see if I can get some sleep before the morning. Yeah, exactly, MGTOW guy. Don't sell at the bottom. Now, I've never done a live stream. How do I shut this off? Oh, and don't get married. Just in case I forget that. Are you sure you want to stop screaming? Streaming, yes. Okay, guys, don't get married. Later.